When people saw that there was partners in the Origami King, they got excited, but the old Paper Mario fans weren't too excited or really that happy, because they weren't really as good as partners in the Thousand Year Door, or the original Paper Mario, but we're talking about the Thousand Year Door in this video. This is the Thousand Year Door partner ranking, and I already did a ranking their abilities in the overworld, so this is just going to be them in battle. And check out the video if you want to, check it out after the video. I mean, it's not that great, it's actually one of my oldest videos that I've made. But, I mean, it's not bad, and I do actually agree with the rankings on there, so I guess you could, like, skip through the video or something. I don't know, just check it out if you want, but if you don't, let's just get started on this video. Miss Mouse is so bad to use in battle, but let's take a step back for a second. Why is she so bad in battle? Well, let me tell you. The reason why she's so bad is because she only has one attacking move, with Love Slap. It's her neutral move. It's her first move that she has, and her only attacking move, which is probably equivalent to Ground Pound and Shade Fist. And obviously, those are good attacks. But since that's her only attack that she has, it's pretty pathetic. That's her most powerful thing that she can do. That's not a good start for her. But Love Slap isn't her only move. She still has 3 more like every other partner. She has Thief, which is probably her best thing to use. She can steal a badge or an item from enemies, which is situational at best. And if they don't have anything, it's pretty useless at worst. But her best move is probably Tease, and it doesn't do any damage, but for 3 FP, you can confuse every single enemy, which is pretty nice. I like that, but it's not really worth it, because she doesn't have a really powerful move she can use after. You have to switch her partner to actually do something. But her last move is probably the worst move a partner can have in the game. It costs 10 FP to heal 10 HP for Mario. Now, if it was maybe 15 HP, or 20 HP, I can get behind that. Or maybe if the FP cost was less, maybe 7, maybe 8, 8's probably pushing it, but still at least that, I would have been fine with it. But since it's basically 10 for 10, this move is useless. You should probably just use a Super Mushroom, and you probably would have been fine. But no, you have to use this really overpriced move, and it's just not worth it at the end of the day. The problem is that she has so many expensive moves that are situational at best, but useless at worst. So I'd rather just use better partners that just focus on damage or tanking, because she's basically useless if you don't do that stuff. Koops is overrated. I'm sorry to all the Koops fans, but in general, I just think he's really annoying to use in battle, and I do have some massive problems, and I'll talk about those massive problems first to actually end this segment on a high note. My first problem, probably my biggest problem with Koops, is that he can't actually hit enemies in the air. That's a huge problem for me, because a lot of these enemies are actually in the air, which, I mean, it's a given, but it's just very annoying where the only attack you can actually use in this situation is Shell Shield, and it's not even an attack. So that means that all you're really doing is just helping Mario, which obviously isn't a bad thing. I'll talk about that attack a bit later, but it's just not good that you basically cannot do any damage with Koops if every single enemy is in the air. My second problem with Koops is that he basically just forgets about Power Shell. When you learn Shell Slam, it basically just completely replaces Power Shell. Because, I mean, it does more damage, even though it's double the FP, it still does more damage, so there's no reason to actually use Power Shell for bosses. Now, my last problem with Koops is that he sacrifices some of his HP for defense. Now, don't get me wrong, defense is not bad, but since you can flip Koops over and basically immobilize him, you need as much HP as possible to actually tank him being flipped over. So because of that, I don't think that the sacrifice for defense was actually that worth it. But I did say that we would end on a high note, and we haven't talked about 2 of the 4 attacks. So Shell Toss is the first attack that you actually learn, and it's average. It's actually pretty easy to pull out the stylish move, which is nice, but since it doesn't attack air, it's not amazing. Shell Shield, though, is really nice. It basically just gives Mario extra HP. Now, personally, I don't actually know how to time the attack, so I don't use it. So, other people would probably be able to use it nice, but since I can't, it's not amazing for me. And even though I talked about Shell Slam ripping off Power Shell, Shell Slam really does a lot of damage to every single enemy. It's not amazing, I still think that other attacks do more damage, but it's definitely good for what Koops offers. But at the end of the day, this is a mediocre partner that really should attack air, and probably get more variety of attacks. Goombella is a great partner to use in battle because I don't even think that she has one bad move on her, which is a great start. But she's only at number 5. Why is that? Well, we'll talk about that a bit later, but let's first talk about her moves. We got a jump, which is just as powerful as Mario's jump. We got Tattle, which makes you know every little thing about each enemy, which is stalkerish, but I won't question that part because it's very useful for the player to find out each enemy's weakness. The third attack that she has is Multi-Boink, which is a power bounce. Power bounce is overpowered in this game, so having another one is very useful. And her last thing that she can do is Rally Wink, which gives Mario another attack, or just another action to do. Now, I don't actually know how to use Rally Wink effectively, so that's not a great thing for me, but if you know how to use it effectively, then it's amazing to use. But why is she at number 5? She has such great attacks. Well, the problem is that I don't use her. At all, in fact. The top 4 I used to use, or I still use a lot. Goombella, I just never bothered to use. And it's also because I don't use Rally Wink at all, and I have the Peekaboo badge instead of Tattle. Now, if you're someone who just tattles every single enemy or every single boss, that's very useful, and I think that you should probably have Goombella at least in the top 3. But since I don't really think that she deserves to be in the top half. I think that she's just a mediocre partner for me. I think overall, though, she is a great partner for people to use. Bobbery is a partner that I used to use a lot because I thought his attacks were amazing and he had a lot of HP. Now, I do still agree with him having a lot of HP, but in general, him in battle isn't really that great. Half of his attacks are actually pretty bad. Bomb Squad and Hold Fast are situational at best and useless at worst. Bomb is just a normal attack to me. It's just kind of like Shell Toss. It does a medium amount of damage and it's fine. It doesn't do any status effects, so it's not really that useful. But Bombast is a really good attack. It does a lot of damage, but the problem with it is that it's 9 FP. You just blow through all your FP with that attack. So it's not incredibly useful. Yes, it does a lot of damage and it hits every single enemy, but 9 FP is too much. And that's probably my biggest problem with Bobbery. While I do think that his story is the best out of any partner, I do think that him in battle is just subpar at best. Vivian is a great partner that I constantly use. Not only does she have just great attacks, she also probably has the best neutral attack from any partner in this game, which is Shade Fist. Shade Fist hits enemies that are on the ground or in the air. Koops, I better see you writing down notes. And she also burns the enemy. A status effect for 0 FP is very beneficial and it's great value for this partner. There's also Veil, which I personally don't know how to use Veil, which, I mean, if you know how to use it, then you probably can get great value from it, but since I don't, it's not too useful to me. There's also Fiery Jinx, which is very useful. It's kind of like Shade Fist, but with every single enemy, and more damage. But then there's Infatuate. Infatuate is not a good move, at all in fact. Miss Mouse has Tease, that costs 3 FP. That basically does the exact same thing. Infatuate costs 4 FP. Now, if you don't want to switch your partner, that's kind of stupid, but let's say you don't want to switch your partner. You still have Fiery Jinx that causes a burn. You already have a status effect, so you don't really need to use Infatuate. And Infatuate is probably the worst thing about Vivian. If she didn't have Infatuate and maybe have actually a good burning effect that instantly burns every single enemy guaranteedly, that might have been pretty good. But the way that she has it right now, it's not that great. I do obviously like Fiery Jinx. I obviously like Veil in concept. I like Shade Fist a lot. But Infatuate is just garbage. Flurry is not underrated, but I do think that people don't really know a strategy with her, even though I do, and it's very useful to use this strategy. But we'll talk about that at the end of this segment. Her first 2 moves are really bad. I don't like Body Slam that much. It's pretty inconsistent to actually pull off for me personally. And while I'm actually pretty good at Gale Force, it's not actual consistent results. You don't actually blow every single enemy off the screen. Even though it is pretty nice that you still get the EXP for it. That's pretty nice. But then there's Lip Lock, probably your best move that she has, where you can literally take the HP of an enemy and heal it back to flurry. And then there's Dodgy Fog, which makes Mario more dodgy. It makes him immune to some dodges that the enemies do. Sometimes it doesn't, so you still have to be prepared, but it's very useful. And the strategy that you want to do is that you instantly put Dodgy Fog on Mario, and then after that, you just use Lip Lock for Flurry if she ever actually loses HP. If she doesn't, then just do Body Slam. With Mario, just do as many powerful moves as possible, and you basically defeat the enemy pretty easily. And the reason why you make Mario dodgy and not Flurry, it's because she'll be the tank, and then you can use Lip Lock to just heal back up. Now, it won't heal all the HP back up, but you get to use her for so long, if she ever dies, then you can just switch to the number 1 on this list, and then you completely kill the enemy easily. It's a very good tactic, and I really like it. But at the end of the day, if people don't use Flurry because of Gale Force and Body Slam, I get it. But at least consider the Lip Lock and Dodgy Fog strategy. It's very useful and actually makes some of the battles in this game pretty trivial, which is very nice. What a surprise! Probably the best partner in any Paper Mario game got number 1. Like, I mean, was anyone really expecting someone different? Now, don't get me wrong, the combo with Flurry is really good, but Tiny Yoshi is easily the best partner in any Paper Mario game. Even his worst attack, Gulp, is still useful in some cases. Let's go through each attack individually like we did for every other partner. For his neutral move, we got Ground Pound. Ground Pound is very useful and it actually does a lot of damage for a neutral move. It doesn't burn like Vivian's attack, but it's probably the second best neutral move. His second attack, Gulp, is also pretty useful. It is a bit of a downside for it being 4 FP, but it's still a pretty good attack. Then you've got Mini Egg, which is very nice because it actually shrinks the opponent, which lowers their attack drastically. And then you got Stampede, the best move in any Paper Mario game. This move does so much damage to every single enemy on screen. It does so much, in fact, that on the footage that I think I'm about to show you, it does probably 1/6 of the Shadow Queen's health, which is ridiculous. It's so much power, and it's so powerful, and it's easily the best attack for any partner. Even if it didn't do 1/6, it's easily the most powerful attack from any partner. There's no question about that. Thank you guys for watching this video. My next video will probably be on a Paper Mario game. I'm not sure. Leave your ideas in the comments below, reply to that comment, and if you lasted this long and you're not subscribed yet, you might as well subscribe. I'm a small channel, so any subscriber will help. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.